So we've started the SAFE, Sravasti Abbey Friends Education Program, and the people doing Module 1 have some questions about rebirth, so I'm going to try and answer them. Okay, so somebody is referring to me saying she's the first of my teachers to say that a belief in rebirth isn't necessary for Buddhist practice. I find that somewhat surprising, and I don't understand how it's possible to be a Buddhist and attain enlightenment without it. Okay, so I usually don't say that a belief in rebirth is not necessary for being for attaining enlightenment or for developing the deeper realizations, because definitely it's necessary. It's part of the Buddhist worldview. How can you cultivate bodhicitta, wanting all sentient beings to be free of samsara, if you don't have the notion of samsara, and the notion of cyclic existence depends on rebirth? Okay, but what I do tell people is that they can do practices that the Buddha taught without being a Buddhist. So, for example, when I've been with Christians, I've taught the breathing meditation, the meditations on love and compassion, the meditations on patience, and so on and so forth. So all those kinds of meditations somebody can do whether or not they're a Buddhist. Okay? And then for calling oneself a Buddhist, I was talking with somebody recently about that, and he said he's fine with the idea of emptiness and everything else he hears. He's just not sure about rebirth. And I said, as long as you keep the door open and explore the idea of rebirth and think about it and think about the logical reasons behind it, you don't have to have a firm belief. If you say, absolutely, I don't believe in any rebirth, then, calling yourself a Buddhist might be a little strange. But if you have doubt about it and you're not sure, that's okay. I mean, not everybody is convinced of everything at the same time. But then also, what criteria we use to call ourselves a Buddhist, who knows? I mean, the strict definition is you've taken refuge in Buddha, Dharma, Sangha. But the loose definition is, people use a term however they feel like it and however makes sense to them. And, some people are more strictly in line with Buddhism, but they don't call themselves Buddhist, and other people aren't, their beliefs aren't very strictly in line with Buddhism, and they call themselves Buddhist. So it's, it's a label. And, there's no Buddhist catechism that says you have to believe points 1 through 15 in order to use that term, So I think it depends very much how somebody feels. Okay? Then another question here. What is reborn in the process of rebirth is a question I don't quite know the answer to. Okay? So the mind stream, along with the karmic imprints, goes from one life to the next. But just what is that, and what does that mean? Okay? So I really have to fight not to believe that there is some sort of soul, something real that goes from life to life. I mean, we each have our own mind streams. There's no collective mind stream. So doesn't there have to be something that's really me? The idea of it just being something formless that's always changing doesn't really make sense to me, because even then I still want there to be something about it that's me. Okay, well, this is exactly what the Buddha is refuting when he taught no self or selflessness. Okay, this is exactly it, because we have this innate feeling that there's something that's really me. Okay, you can take my body away, you can take my mind away, you can take everything away, but there's a real me there that's unchangeable, that goes from life to life, that is indestructible and is the essence of me-ness. Right? And so sometimes we feel that, sometimes we create a philosophy about that. It's somehow comforting to think that there's something that's really me. Well, think about that again. Is it really that comforting? If there's something that's really me and I'm still a limited being with all my faults, then I am forever that limited being, or limited self, or limited soul. So when you think of it, you know, there might be some very consoling to feel, oh, there's something that's really me. But then when you think deeper, then that thing that's really me could never change, which means I could never become a Buddha. It means I'm always stuck the way I am. Now, that's not good news. Okay? But also, if there were something that is really me, we should be able to identify exactly what that thing is. Okay? And so then we begin the search. What is that thing that is really me? Is it my body? Well, the body dies. You know. Is it my mind? Well, my mind's changing all the time. Well, maybe it's one part of my mind that doesn't change. But the mind, by definition, is something that is clear and knowing. And to know an object and to reflect an object, it has to change. Okay? So if you're saying that there's something that's really unchangingly, immutably me, then it couldn't be the mind, because the mind also changes. So then are you positing some kind of soul, or some kind of self with a big S? Well, what exactly is that? You know, it can't have any of the functions of the body, because that's what the body does. It can't have any of the functions of the mind, such as feeling, cognizing, perceiving. So exactly what is this soul? And find it, and identify exactly what it is. Okay? So look for it, and let me know what you come up with. Okay? Yeah? Because, you know, we want there to be something that's really me. So look for it. Figure out what it really is. Search for it.